Hello children. Today again we are going to solve NCERT exercises of chapter physical and chemical changes. So let's start doing our questions. Question number 1, classify the changes involved in the following processes as physical or chemical changes. So we all know in physical changes, the reactants will convert into a product, and again after some time we can convert this product into reactants, means they are reversible changes. And also in these type of changes only physical properties of the substances will change, whereas in chemical changes the reactants after the reaction will convert into a product, and we cannot get these reactants again, right? And these chemical changes are irreversible changes, and all the chemical properties of the substances will change and they will form a new substance. So now let's start doing this. Photosynthesis is a chemical change. Why? Because food is formed. Then dissolving sugar in water, it is a physical change because it is a reversible process. Then burning of coal, after burning we cannot get the coal back, so it is a chemical change. Melting of wax, it is a physical change. Beating aluminium to make aluminium foil, this is again a physical change because only physical properties are changing here. Then digestion of food, it is a chemical change because once the food is digested we cannot get the food back, so it is an irreversible process, so it is chemical change, right? Now moving on to next question. State whether the following statements are true or false. In case a statement is false, write the correct statement in your notebook. So number A, cutting of wood, cutting a log of wood into pieces is a chemical change. So this is not a chemical change. This is a false statement. Why? Because in this, we are cutting the log of wood, but there is no change in its properties, right? So it is a physical change, but yes, we cannot get the log back. So we can say that it is a physical change, but irreversible physical change. So we can write it here, irreversible physical change, right? Next question. Formation of manure from the leaves is a physical change. No, it is not a physical change because once the leaves will convert into manure, they will not be again converting into leaves. So it is not a physical change. It is, this is the incorrect statement. So we will write here false, and it is, what type of change is it? Chemical? Yes or no? Yes, it is a chemical change. So here we will write chemical change because all the properties of leaves are changed when they are converted into manure, right? Number C, iron pipes coated with zinc do not get rusted easily. Right, this is the correct statement. So we will write true here. Iron and rust are same substances. Are they same substances? Iron and rust? No, they are not. So this is a false statement. So they are not same substances. They are different substances. Condensation of steam is not a chemical change. Yes or no? It is not a chemical change. Yes, it is not a chemical change. It is a physical change. So this statement is true because here when the steam is getting condensed, it will convert into water again. That means only physical state of it is changing. So we will say that it is a physical change and it is not a chemical change. Right. Now moving on to next question, fill in the blanks in the following statements. Number A, when carbon dioxide is passed through lime water, it turns milky due to the formation of, we know that when carbon dioxide gas is passed through lime water, then it forms calcium carbonate. Due to this, the lime water will turn milky, right? The chemical name of baking soda is, this we have done in the class, it is sodium hydrogen carbonate. NaHCO3. Next question, two methods by which rusting of iron can be prevented are dash and dash. So we know that painting, greasing, galvanization, these are all the methods by which we can prevent rusting. So we can write any two. We can write down painting and galvanization. Next, changes in which only dash properties of a substance change are called physical changes. So we have just now discussed that physical changes are those changes in which only physical properties of the substance will change. So we will write here physical. Changes in which new substances are formed are called chemical changes, right? So now moving on to next question. When baking soda is mixed with lemon juice, bubbles are formed with the evolution of a gas. What type of change is it? Explain. So we need to explain that what type of change is it. We know that when baking soda is mixed with lemon juice, it is a reaction in which carbon dioxide gas is formed, which will form bubbles, right? So yes, it is a chemical change. And in this, the gas which is forming the bubble is carbon dioxide gas, right? And a new substance, sodium hydrogen carbonate, is formed due to which it cannot be converted back into baking soda and lemon juice. That is why it is a chemical change. So we will write that it is a chemical change as sodium hydrogen carbonate and CO2 gas, means carbon dioxide gas bubbles are formed. So it is a chemical change. Now next question, when a candle burns, both physical and chemical changes take place. Yes. So identify these changes. Give another example of a familiar process in which both the physical and chemical changes take place, right? So we can say that uh, physical change and chemical change. So when physical change will take place? When the candle, when we burn the candle, the wax will start melting. So this is a physical change. So melting of wax. This is a physical change. Whereas when the wax vapors, or you can say the wax which is near the candle flame, it will vaporize, it will start burning, and then after burning, it will convert into gas, means carbon dioxide. After burning, we all know that these fuels, they give us carbon dioxide gas. So this process is a chemical change, right? So we can write down that burning of wax vapors. This is a chemical change, right? And we have to give another example of a familiar process. So there are so many examples, but I'm taking one example of LPG gas. I hope we all know what is LPG. LPG is liquefied petroleum gas, which we use in our homes to cook the food, right? So in LPG gas, what happens? The gas is filled in cylinders in liquid state, and once we will switch on the knob, it will convert into again gaseous state because the pressure is released, right? So this is a physical change. Whereas when the gas burns, then we can mention that it is a chemical change, because on burning, it will burn in the air and it will give us heated light and other products like carbon dioxide gas. So it is a physical change. So we can write down another example. LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, which we use in our homes. So in this physical change is converting or conversion of gas liquid gas into gas, means gaseous state. And chemical change is burning of gas in air, right? So these are two different types of changes. Then how would you show that setting of curd is a chemical change? We know that we take milk, we add some amount of curd, and after some time, we get curd. And after getting the curd, we cannot get it back. We cannot get the milk back, right? So we can say that it is a chemical change, because from the milk, after a reaction, we get curd, and its taste will change, its appearance will also change slightly, and its smell will also change. We cannot get the milk back, so it is a chemical change. So it is a chemical change, as we will not get the milk back, right? Okay. Now moving on to next question. Explain why burning of wood and cutting it into small pieces are considered as two different types of changes. So we know that when we burn the wood, we after burning we get ashes, right? So wood will burn in the air and you will get charcoal and carbon dioxide gas. Whereas when we are cutting the wood, then we will get small pieces of the wood of same uh, type, right? So there is no chemical change in it. So it is a physical change, but it is irreversible physical change, right? Whereas burning of wood is a chemical change. So we can write down chemical change. Why it is a chemical change? Because wood is burned, right? And we will get a new substance. New substances are formed. Whereas cutting of wood is a physical change. Why? Because no new substance is formed. No new substance is formed. It will only change the size of wood, right? So we can say that it is irreversible change. Irreversible but physical change. Next is describe how crystals of copper sulfate are prepared. So preparation of crystals of copper sulfate is the process which is known as crystallization, right? So how does it happen? Let's see. What we will do, we will take some water in a beaker and we will heat this water, right? After heating, we will add copper sulfate powder in it. Once we will start adding copper sulfate powder in it, it will get dissolved in the water. We will keep on adding the copper sulfate powder in it and we will stop once the powder will stop getting dissolved in it, right? So just keep on adding the powder, copper sulfate powder, and stop only when no more powder is mixed in it, right? Because it is a heated solution, so we can add maximum amount of copper sulfate. We will keep on stirring it so that it will get dissolved easily, right? And after it will stop dissolving, then what we will do, we will keep it safely and we will allow it to cool down. Once it is cooled down, you will, before cooling it down, you will filter it and then we will allow it to cool. After that, after some time, we will see that fine blue copper sulfate crystals are formed, right? So we can describe it in steps. Take water in beaker, heat it and mix copper sulfate powder. Keep stirring it. Then once it will stop mixing, when maximum powder is mixed and no more powder can be dissolved in it, then stop adding more powder. Now what will we do? Filter it and allow it to cool. Crystals will be formed, right? So this is how we get the crystals of copper sulfate. Now next question is explain how painting of an iron gate prevents it from rusting. When we paint the iron gate, so due to this layer of paint, it will not be in direct contact of the air. Due to that, it will not rust, right? So what will we write? Due to painting or due to a layer of paint, iron gate will not be in contact of air. We can write moisture as well. Hence, it will prevent rusting, right? Explain why rusting of iron object is faster in coastal areas than in deserts. We all know that in coastal areas the air is moist, whereas in deserts air is dry. It does not contain much water, right? So that is why this is the reason that why in coastal areas rusting of iron object is faster as compared to deserts, right? So we can write down in coastal areas moisture content in air is more than the air in deserts, right? Hence, the process of rusting is faster in coastal areas as compared to deserts, right? Now moving on to next question. The gas we use in the kitchen is called liquefied petroleum gas. In the cylinder, it exists as a liquid. When it comes out from the cylinder, it becomes a gas. This is change A. Then it burns. This is change B. The following statements pertain to these changes. Choose the correct one. So now let's see. Here it is written when this liquefied petroleum gas LPG in cylinder, when it comes out, then it converts into a gas, right? That means from the liquid it is converting into a gas. That means it is a physical change. right? So change A is a physical change. Whereas when it starts burning, then change B takes place, and that is a chemical change, right? So now let's see which one is the correct one. So process A is a chemical change. No, this is wrong. Process B is a chemical change. Right. Both processes A and B are chemical changes. Wrong. None of these processes is a chemical change. Wrong. So statement 2, that is process B is a chemical change, is the correct statement. Next question. Anaerobic bacteria digest animal waste and produce biogas. This is change A. The biogas is then burned as fuel, change B. The following statements pertain to these changes. Choose the correct one. So, anaerobic bacteria digest animal waste and produce biogas. So, what is happening here? This change A is a chemical change, right? So, we will write here this is a chemical change. Then, the biogas is then burned. Again, change B is a chemical change because here we are burning the gas, right? So now let's see the options. Process A is a chemical change, process B is a chemical change. Both processes A and B are chemical changes. So this is the most appropriate answer, right? So we will mark this answer. One of these processes is a chemical change. No, both the processes are chemical changes. So we will mark answer 3. Both processes A and B are chemical changes, right? So children, we have solved all the questions of chapter physical and chemical changes. That's it for the day. We will meet again and we will solve another chapter, right? Till then, bye everyone.